Hi everybody, I'm Nettie K. Welcome back to my studio. Today we're going to do something a little bit like a little fallish kind of thing. We've got on our title, we have painting pets. Well, I have a kind of a weird pet today. I have an owl. Isn't that fun? I don't think owls are real pets, but I know a lot of farmers that keep them around because it keeps the mice down. And I did a tiny one today of this a little owl, and it's just so cute. I'm going to just show it to you up here in the camera. Isn't that fun? It's just so cute. So I thought we would do a little bit of what's called a nocturne, which means something at night. Nocturne means nighttime. I've been doing nocturne paintings in the last about 10 days and trying to figure out how to get that kind of a glow from lights and different things. And so that's what I'm shooting for at this point. I'm going to raise this up just a tad. And whoops, boy, I just about showed you my ceiling, didn't I? There we go. Okay, that's a little bit better. And I have a new close-up lens that will shoot in just a little bit closer into the canvas here in a few minutes. But meanwhile, I've got a reference. I've got a couple of references, and I'm hoping that this time around we will have a little better connection. Last week we had, we just had our issues with the initial broadcast, but not after they mixed it up and put it together. It worked fine. So it's just kind of interesting that way, but that's where we're at. So anyway, all right. So on my palette, I have a few colors. I have a black, and what is black for? Black, and I have white. Black and white do a couple of things. Now, white is our kind of our replacement for light is our white. And so we have that, and then we have black is dark. But anytime you add white and black to paint, it takes the color down, or it subdues the color. All right, so don't forget that. It will knock the color back. If you're doing color straight out of the tube, that's as strong as it gets, right? But not, if you add white to it, it will dull it down, or it'll lighten it up, but it will dull down the color. And then black will do the same thing, just on the other end of the spectrum. So if you're looking for a muted color, you add one of white or black to it. You know, a lot of artists won't even touch black. I'm just now learning about it. After how many decades? Yeah, okay. So now I've got, forgot to tell you what else I have on my palette. Okay, so I have a little black. I have some phthalo turquoise. I have some burnt sienna. That's what it is. It's a brick color, and so that's how we remember. It's like burnt rocks. Okay, brick color. I have a transparent yellow and a little bit of transparent orange. I always put that on my palette to warm things up, and I just love that color. That's one of my favorite colors. You can tell it's the color of my hair. Okay, so I'm going to start out. I'm going to think about what I want to do with this painting, and I'm thinking about doing it. Yeah, I'm going to do it sideways, and I want to put my character off center. I don't want to put him in the middle of the canvas, because it doesn't create any kind of a sense of rhythm or drama when I dead center it. Now, yeah, I got to admit, we dead centered that last painting last week. Let me grab that so you can see what it looks like. Last week's spooky, crazy painting looks like this. It didn't turn out too bad. I think it was kind of interesting. That's a centered piece. Okay, that's very, very in the middle, and that's a lot of times when you're doing just formal portraits, you'll often put them right in the middle. But that was just my choice for that particular painting. It'd be more interesting if it was off to the side, but we were looking more for a likeness rather than, whatever. Okay, so now we're going to come in with a little brush, and I've got a can of thinner with some brushes, and I've also got this cute little cup right here that has my Neo Mag help if I need it. That's just a gel medium that helps the paint to move around a little bit, and it doesn't, it's not quite as thin as the thinner, thinner. But meanwhile, okay, let's do it. I'm going to get a little bit of this. I think we'll start with that little burnt sienna in that brick color. And I'm going to come over here and I'm going to think about where how much space I want for this little bird. And I'm going to come down like this. And we'll go make his little head kind of like this. And this time, this one I did in kind of light blues and stuff and dark blues. This time I'm going to do it just a little bit different. And so we'll see what happens in the end. And so he's got this little thing. If you guys are into owls, I think they're pretty cool. There's a couple of different, well, there's a lot of different kinds. There's barn owls, there's all kinds of different kinds. But I'm just looking to see how much space is on his head. And we've got a lot of owls around here. You can hear them at night. Hoot hoot. They're just so fun. And then I'll figure out how much space. This is like the hole in the donut. I'm going to just put that there. And how I figure that space out is not trying to center the eyeball, but it's trying to, more or less, it's trying to figure out how much space is around the middle, and that helps me figure it out. So I'm looking at angles. I'm looking at all kinds of different things. I've got the head is slightly tilted, so I'm going to put that eye slightly up that direction, and then we'll put this coming around. I better take a look at that. I better put that out on top here. There we go. And then there we go. I've just kind of got this little thing here, and then I'll put his little body like this and this part. So his head's a little bit turned. I'm going to see more of this side of the head than I am this side, the other side. I see this part is in the light. The thing that's interesting about this particular owl is that he's got light on one side and dark on another. Now this, you guys, I'm going to tell you, I got this reference off of the internet, and it was one of those free use little ones, which is lovely. But when you use a reference like that, make sure you change it up enough to where it's not just a copy of the the photograph. The person who took the photograph, they don't want you just copying it and making lots and lots of different copies of their work. That's not right. And if you can, leave them a nice donation. That would be really, really great. So on this guy, there are different programs I'm just learning about. Most of the time I work for my own photos, and I have also another lady that does photography for me. She lives out on the golf course, and she gets a lot better pictures than I do sometimes. I mean, we get deer in the backyard. We had them in there today. I've got a big apple, about 3 apple trees. Even up at 5,300 feet, way up in the sky, elevation, we still get these apples that grow. And so I'll probably do apples next week. We'll see. And so, next week, oh my goodness, we're going to be getting ready for a big show in Hood River. Don't forget, if you're in Hood River, Oregon, to come and see me next Friday and Saturday, the 27th of October and the 28th of October. And we'll be out at the Sustain Design Center in Hood River on 1st Street or 1st Avenue. And I hope to see some of you there. If you are people that watch my show, make sure that you come up and tell me that you are viewers. I'd love to know that. I would love to know that. Okay, see, now that already looks like a pretty good owl, doesn't it? Yeah. All right, so that's the basic shape. You can see he's kind of got, boy, are we having issues in town with flies and gnats. It's just ridiculous. I'm just sick of them. They're flying around. They're getting in the paint. It's just awful. Every restaurant you go into, it's just really fun. Okay, now I'm going to take my burnt sienna, excuse me, and I'm going to put a little bit of turquoise in it. and the turquoise is just going to darken that up so that I can get my darker, rather than just using, you know, black or whatever, I'm adding turquoise to it. And then I'll just put in the dark part that I see. And then I think, okay, where's that? There's this little dark there. And then he has a little beak, a cute little beak. And then a little thing right there. And then this gets a little bit darker. Now, he's split up like this, okay. So I've got a little bit of a thing that goes like that. And then this is going to be the dark side of the bird right here. And this is going to be the light side of the bird. And so when we get around to it, then I'm going to put on the dark side in the background, I'm going to make it a little bit lighter, and then I'm going to make it dark on this side. So let's do that right now and see if we can get a really good background color. I'm going to use a really wide brush for this. Let me just see what happens if I zoom in and see how close I can get. Let's say close up. There's a button for that. Okay. Oh, man. My wrinkles are really bad. Okay, never mind. Okay, so there's a little bit of that bird. If I can now move my camera down just a little bit. Oh, look, you can see the whole thing. Isn't that great? Wow. All right, now I'll go like that. Excellent. All right, I'm going to pull that down. Because right at this stage, we are mostly concerned with the background. And so now we're going to come in with some of that really dark turquoise color. And I'm going to make this a night, kind of that nighttime type of a feel with the dark background on the light side of the bird so that the light will really stand out, okay? And then I'm going to split it off right about in the middle of the bird's head, right there. And this is actually, I know it may look like a different color on your screen. It looks, on my screen, it looks like it's like a royal blue. But this is really a deep, dark turquoise. And now I'm going to add some white. And I'm going to do something a little bit weird. Let's see, if I add a little bit of turquoise and white. Yeah, turquoise and white and just a touch of black. And why am I doing that? Well, on nocturne paintings, you want to have, now it's a little bit close to the color we already have. Hang on, let me just move that up a little bit lighter so it's slightly into the gray zone, but it is also a little bit lighter than over on that side. Can you tell that? I hope you can. I hope you can. I'm going to add a little bit more white now, and we'll put that with our great big huge brush. It's what, 1.5 inches thereabouts, and you can tell now the bird is beginning to pop off, and really you can see it standing out. And so what I can do into the background like this, the other thing I can do is say, all right, I want to make this look really dark over here on that side. I can do the same thing. I can take maybe a little, let's see what happens if I take a little burnt umber with the turquoise and I put that over here and I kind of make it look like there's a little glowy halo around it. So I've got burnt umber, no, burnt sienna. Oh, I swear, if there was, I get so mixed up with burnt and raw, and then on top of that, umber and sienna. Anybody else out there have that issue? So I'm going to make this kind of feel as though there's this beautiful nighttime energy, but it's still lighter over here, just a little bit. Okay, right next to the bird's dark side of the bird's body, like that. Okay, now that looks pretty good. That looks pretty good. I'm going to put that brush away, and we'll pick up one that's just slightly smaller than that. Now, the dark side of the bird, boy, it almost feels as though the dark side of the bird should be the same color as this, but I'm not real sure. Let's see. Yeah, about that color. But I want to make it a little bit more in the purple zone. I'm trying to figure out if I have Oh, I do down here. Where am I right now? Let's see. I'll start over here. I'll start over here. Okay. So on the light side of the bird, I'm going to take some transparent yellow and some transparent orange and a lot of white. And I'm going to put my Neo-Mag up in that, and I'm going to come in and just make this part of the bird in the yellow zone. And I'll put that little yellow around the eye. You can see there's just that kind of glowy yellow eye. And we're going to go like this. And then it's going to get lighter as it comes out towards the dark edge or the dark sky, like that. Okay, a little bit lighter. You can see it's just really an egg shape, really, and with a little ball on the top and a little heart. I think this is a fairly easy painting for you all, so you could do this. You can do this. We break down the shapes just a little bit. That helps. And then I'm going to come up here. We're going to make this nice and light right there. Okay, like that. And then on that side of the head, we're going to go a little bit darker. So I'm going to go with the burnt sienna, a little bit of the blue, and I'm going to begin putting in the dark side of the head like that. Just like that. And then this side is going to have a little bit of that dark color as well. So dark tonal value, kind of in this color, a little brown and purple. Okay. So I'm adding a little bit of that teal color into, it's kind of a tealy gray purple. What? Yeah, it's got teal, burnt sienna. And the teal and burnt sienna makes it kind of a little bit lavenderish, but not too much. Let's see, more burnt sienna. Look at that. That's an interesting, mysterious thing. And then I'm going to go in with a little bit of burnt sienna with teal with no white in it. And I'm going to come in and put in a little dark eye, indication of the dark eye there. And then over here, another little dark eye. Wow, that's already coming together. And then I'm going to give him his little mustache down here like this. This is it's a little shape that goes underneath, and then it's very dark right under here, like this. And let's see, we go like that. I'm going to add, if it's too green, then I'm going to add, what's the opposite of green? I'm going to add something reddish, and so that's that burnt sienna that works. And then I'm going to give some little bit of stripiness to it, around like that. I can keep shaping it out a little bit, put it in like this, little things like this. And then I'll go in. Now, one of the things that I can do at this stage is I can take some Q-tips and I can go in and put the Q-tips into some thinner, just like we did with that crazy painting that we did before. And I can come in and wipe out certain areas. So I can come in and wipe out and bring it down, pull up the highlights a little bit. And this might be a little bit hard to see. And then I just get some more, and we'll see we need a little bit more there, and then a little bit here. So you can really map out your little feathers with your Q-tips. Just flip them around and take out a few more here and there, like that. Now I'm going to take my little gray. This is a warm gray. I'm going to add just a little bit of the yellow to my gray. And then I'm going to put in a little lighter gray around the eye like this. And this is the first layer, okay? It's just the first layer. And so as we begin, you don't want to put it on too thick. When it's the first layer, you don't put it on too thick. You just put it on nice and thin so you can work with it. If it goes on too thick in the beginning, what happens? Well, then the next stroke of paint you put on, it won't stick to it because it's, you know, it's just, there's already too much paint on the canvas. So we want to remember that. And now I'm going to go in with a little lighter grayish color. Let's make it nice and dramatic. There, like that. And so you start out with it a little darker than it should be. And then anything, you know, you're not painting by number here. You're adding, you start with a darker paint in the beginning, and you add the lighter paint as you go in layers. You're not painting in a little white piece and then a dark piece and then a light piece. No, that would be way too hard to do, and you'd drive yourself crazy. But look how feathery, pardon me, how feathery this is, and how it works so beautifully. And this is just the shadow side of the bird that looks like it's got these feathers. And you can do these in lavender and violet. You can do it in, you know, whatever colors. But this is kind of misty, isn't it? Just beautiful. I'm going to wipe off my brush. And now I'm going to come in with a paper towel. Come in with a paper towel. And I'm going to take my paper towel. I'm going to dip it into some thinner. I should be wearing gloves again. I did that last week. I wore gloves. Now, I want some lights to come out here. So I'm going to pull this light out. See, I put lights on here with my paintbrush, but on here I'm going to pull it out. And I'm going to just do the same kind of thing, only by reversing and pulling the paint out and taking it off. And then I will put in some of the markings of the bird. But it's the easiest way to do it is just to put in a middle tone and then take out the lights with your rag as much as you can. Hope you can see that. I'll make it a little bit darker for you in a second so that you can see it just a little bit better. And then, okay, there. Now you can hopefully see that. And it also thins the paint on the canvas out a little bit. So what that does is it makes it to where you can actually put more paint on and it'll stick a little bit better. So I'll put this, just take that out a little bit more. Boy, have I got a frog in my throat. It's been kind of a dry day today. I've been so surprised at how dry the air is. Normally up here at this time of year, it's a little bit more rainy or snowing almost. It's going to snow most likely by the end of the month, and it's October right now. It usually snows by Halloween, but it always melts. I'm going to drive you crazy with this. There we go. Okay, now I'm going to grab some. This is just the transparent orange. And now I'm putting in this beautiful, just a few little beautiful marks in transparent orange. Give you a little bit more idea of how that goes. Now, you can paint this just nice and loose. You can paint it nice and loose. And you don't have to paint every little mark. You know, we get in there with a little magnifying glass and we do the little magnifying thing. We don't need that. We just keep it loose, you guys. Keep it loose. Don't worry about it. Don't worry. Be happy. Just get in here and enjoy the process. Now here's a little bit of burnt sienna with the orange. I'm going to come up here a little bit and do a couple of marks up there. It defines the shape, how it goes up and around, and makes it really have a nice little shape like that. Okay, now around the eye, I'm going to just mess around a little bit. I'm going to come around the eye with a little bit of that transparent orange, and I'm going to shape out the eye a little bit that way. And then over here, I want to put a little bit of that light there. This is just with the transparent orange with a little bit of white. I don't want to do too much. Yeah, but I'm going to do it like that. And I would, I'm missing a purple right now. I'm wishing I had purple. I'm going to have to find myself a little assistant one of these days to find all my paints for me. And then I'm going to come around. He's got a little bit of this, that. And the other thing here. Oh, he's very, very glowy, isn't he? He's so glowy. I love it. Okay, now his little beak. Let's get that beak going. I'm kind of working the whole painting over at the same time. I'm not working one little area and then moving to the next. No, I want to get a feel for the whole thing. If you finish one area to perfection and then move to the next, and that might be your thing, you know, there's the problem is you're just that much better than you were 5 minutes ago, and so you can run the risk of getting 2 or 3 different styles going at the same time. So I'm going to just patch this little beak in like that, and then I'm going to light it up with a little bit of a little white. I'm going to use the white onto the wet paint right here, and I'm going to bring it up even more than that so you can really see it. I'm going to give it a highlight. There, that's coming out. Okay, now the next thing is to take some white paint, and it's got just a little bit of yellow in it, but not too much. I want to really make this a light value, and we're going to come up under here. I can't even see that. That's fun. Okay, so and now it's just we're gonna go straight white. I don't normally do that, but I would probably put a little bit of lavender in that. There, now I can see it a little bit. Okay, and I'm going to come around there, find where the lights are, and I'm really kind of working the paint that I've already got laid down on the canvas with the paint I'm adding into. There is a saying that you're not painting until you're painting into paint, and I really take that to heart. It means when you have paint that you can kind of move around onto the canvas with other big chunks of paint, that's when it feels like you're really painting. You know, you're not making watercolor washes when you're painting in oil. You're painting with juicy paint, and it really is a lot of fun. So let's put that, let's see if I've got that in the right spot here. I'm going to just add a little bit of light to that. It's coming out nice. And I'm going to put a little more white here. There. You can see it's just starting to really glow, isn't it? I wish you could be here with me and you could see just how glowy this is. I'm looking forward to continuing. I've got this, you know, the big sustain, it's called a holiday pop-up in Red River. We're going to be showing some of the floral paintings. Crazy thing to do in the middle of fall, I know. But in the gallery in McCall, in Gallery 55, we're going to be switching out some paintings here in November, and I think we're going to be putting some of these fall little critters, including some cows and some horses, and I'm actually going to be putting in some beautiful, beautiful still life paintings as well. So it's a big gallery, and it's got some incredibly good artists in there for it's a little co-op gallery, but boy, you wouldn't know it for most of the gallery. If you walked in, you would say, oh wow, this is just a, you know, regular fancy gallery. Beautiful, beautiful, right on the lake. And we have our next big event, our opening on November 7th, I think it is. And I'll be there. Isn't that beautiful? This is just coming out so nice. Okay, now up here is where the light hits on this part of the eye, and then it kind of comes out. Now, I'm going to also give it, let's see, I want to keep that in the cool range here. I'm going to just pull that up just a tiny bit, and then we'll make the ring around this eye right here is going to be like, I'm going to just kind of make that a little darker, because when you have dark, how do we see light? Well, other than the fact that it's there, but light registers when there's something dark around it, right? If we just painted white on a white canvas, you wouldn't see that. You just wouldn't see it. It would just register as nothing. So you want to have that contrast of the dark. And so I'm going to put some darker little markings that this bird has in here like that and darken it up. I have two options. I can lighten it or darken it. And then I have these other options. I can make it warmer or I can make it cooler. And so whenever I'm trying to adjust something, I think about that. Is it lighter? Is it darker? If I am trying to make something lighter and I've used up all the white and that's all I've got, well, the only option I have is to make the background or what's around the light darker. And that makes that light shine even more. So now I'm going to put that eye back in like that. Get this going like this, like that. And that's in that dark color down here. Then we have a few dark feathers that come down into the chest. And this is in turquoise and brown. You know, it's not black. It's just interesting tonal values. What does that mean? Light, middle tone, dark. So we have control of the tonal values and the color. And the temperature of the color. This is a real good example of what it looks like with warm on that side and cool on the other in the shadow color. Okay. Nice and dark on one side and nice and light on the other and cool on one side and dark and cool on one side and warm and light on the other. Wow, that's cool. Okay, now the next little thing is I want to put a cute little highlight. Actually, I want to give them a little eyelid. See if I can do this to where you can see it. Probably not. I'm going to come in here and I'm going to go put a little eyelid right there. And then I want to put in, I'm going to wipe my brush off and get some light. Even though I don't really see it in this photo. I don't see it in the photo. I'm going to put it in anyway to kind of bring it up a little bit, and it might be too big. There. Now it sort of looks as though it's alive a little bit. Now I want to also think about what's happening in the background a little bit. And first off, I'm going to combine that just a little bit and push that up like that. What's happening over here? We need to have some kind of a light area that comes out right there. Beautiful. And let's see, I want to get a little bit more of that orange. This little beak is not quite as orange as it was on the small one. It often helps to do a smaller study of something that you're going to do on a larger canvas. This isn't a very big canvas, but it's big for some of you. Some of you guys don't paint on large canvases at all. My average size is about 30 by 40, and so it was so funny when I went into the gallery and they accepted me really fast. I wasn't quite ready for it. And they said, okay, now bring in some small works too. Well, guess what? I couldn't even find any. I was looking for them. Most of my small works have sold already. So when I do things like pet portraits and that sort of thing, they're a little smaller generally. Okay, here's some little dots on his head. Now, I want to show you something a little bit fun. I'm going to come over here and I'm going to do this really dark, this is black with the teal. And I'm going to push that into this dark area in the background. And I'm probably creating a sheen. But it's got a little bit of teal, a lot of black, and no white. And then you can see I'm kind of creating almost the shape of a moon in a way, aren't I? I think I will. Oh, there we go. Like this. A little more teal. This is fun. Oops, I think I hit the black instead of the teal. And then it's nice and dark over there. Let's do this again in another layer of seriously dark teal with our, hope I'm not wrecking this. Now is everybody going, oh no, she's wrecking it. No, it's all right. So now even more, I'm now really, really emphasizing that darkness around the bird so that the light shines on that. Just to show you how that effect works. Isn't that amazing? Whoa, yeah, that's pretty cool. Now I'm going to get down here because I don't like that either. Looks like a light. Now I think I will bring it in. I'm going to just keep going with my brush, not loading it up, but I'm going to make it a little smaller, and create this. It's nice wet paint, and we get this interesting little moonlight, a little bit like moonlight going like this with the round. Just have some fun with it a little bit, like that. There. So it's dark over here, but it's kind of light, and so it's got this. Ooh, I'm liking this a lot. I'm going to drag that dark a little bit more into it. I'm going to do a little more there. I'm just going to make it smaller and smaller so it's a spotlight kind of a thing. Got a little pookie in there. Got to get that out. One thing when you are submitting to galleries, everybody, if you are submitting to a gallery and you've used old paint on your palette, this is why you don't want to, if you can, I know you're all trying to save money, but if you have your little palette like this and you leave your palette out at night and you leave it overnight and then all of a sudden you're like, you know, oh, I'm going to save that paint, or you put it in the refrigerator. You can save it in the refrigerator, but it can dry and then you end up putting your paint on the canvas and it looks like there are little bits of dried paint in there. If you don't get those out of your painting before you submit that to a gallery, you want to make sure every layer that you paint doesn't have those little dried bits of stuff in it. You know, you just don't want all that, because a decent gallery will look at that and go, no, that's not good. We don't need that. And so you have to really be a little bit more careful with that, and don't go there. Just make sure, you know, you're painting. You never know when you're going to get a really great piece, so don't be skimping on stuff. You know, just put out new paint if you can. Yeah, if you know, there are ways of preserving it, but still, honestly, I think we get a little bit silly sometimes. Sometimes we get mixtures that we really like. Okay, anybody out there? Yeah, we get mixtures that we like and we don't want, and we think, oh man, I'm not going to be able to mix that again, so I'm going to put that in the refrigerator. Well, you know, feel free to dry it onto a canvas, but remix it if you can. You need the practice anyway, really. Okay, now that's good. Isn't that kind of a fun look? All right, back in again one more time. Now, I'm thinking about this background as though it has a little, maybe a little lantern way back in the back. Okay, and so I've got this dark turquoise. I got to see if this looks even better. If I pick it up, I'm going to pick it up and I'm going to hold it closer to the camera so that you can really see the difference in how dark that color is. Okay, it's kind of like that. It's really, really dark, like this, with my little bird. Hello. Okay, that's fun. I feel like Mr. Rogers with X the Owl. There we go. I got a little thing here. Okay, now with this dark area over here, what's going to happen? I'm going to pull this forward like that. There. Now you can see it. Okay. First off, before I do that, I'm going to come over here because this is the dark side of the bird, and I'm going to, what happens if I take my little wipe out here and I go in like this and create a little bit of a glow like that. Okay, maybe, and it gives me a little bit more space so I can put a little lighter lighter color on there. Hang tight. And I'll wipe that off just a sec. I'm wanting a nice contrast is what I'm looking for. I'm looking for this contrast right here. Yeah, okay, there we go. Almost looks like the moon, but not quite. So that we get a little bit more of a contrast. I've got dark going out into there, and the bird should light up just a little bit better with the light of something behind it. A little energy, little moon energy at night. Like that. Now, if I have a little lantern over here, let's see what that looks like. I don't have a reference for that, so who knows what that's going to look like. But meanwhile, a lantern will have a usually a yellow light to it. So I'm going to start out with a little bit of a yellow light. This is yellow. Watch what happens when I just put just a dot of yellow right there. You can see that, can't you? You can see it. It's just a small dot, but wow, it just lights up right like that. It lights up. And then I can come back in. I'm wiping my brush off, and I'm going to put a white dot in the center of that. And so each time I do that, it creates this kind of a luminous look. Looks a little bit like a star or something out there. So now I'm going to see if I can draw with my paintbrush a little lantern. Okay, I'm going to start out with a little box like that. And if I don't like it, oh well. There, like this. Okay. So I've got a long pole like that. Maybe it goes down like this into the ground. And I'm just going to make this really simple. I don't, you can make it into a full box. Yeah, but I won't. And then I'm going to wipe off my brush. Better set that down for a second. I actually need to rinse that out a little bit because it's so dark. Okay, and then I'm going to take a little bit of light on here. Let's pull that out like that. Like that. Can you see that? Barely working it up. And then I'm going to go like this. I'm going to take a little bit of a light on one side like that. I may or may not keep this. Okay, just looking. We're always experimenting, aren't we? Now let's make a little bit of that yellow light. I think if I was really getting serious with this, I would let this dry a little bit. But I'm just going to create this yellowish light around here. A little yellow light on my weirdo street lamp. Like that. Maybe put a little bit down here. I'm goofing off, you guys. But anyway, let's try one more pure white if I can, right in the middle. Yeah, that's good. There. Now it kind of looks like it's really kind of in the background like that. All right. I'm going to make this into a little box like this. And then I'll put another, I think I do want to use a little Q-tip on here. Hang on. Another Q-tip. And I'll create this lamp like this. There we go. I experiment in front of you without even, I remember Bob Ross. He's such a neat guy. But he would do things like he would practice every painting 3 times before he would come on there. On the like the thing that you would see would be the third round. And then I'm going to just spring this out like this and see. Okay, well, that just kind of gives a nice little light. I don't think you can really see that too much. So you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to wipe that off again, and we're going to just, oh, wait a second, wait a sec. Don't you love it? That's the neat thing about painting is that you can just adjust and adjust and adjust. Somebody said, I think it was Helen Van Wyck, she used to say, if you can't adjust, don't paint. So now I've got this thing. That was just a fun little area to experiment with. But instead of making that, I think I'm going to test it out and use my white, and I'm going to test out something else. I'm going to just put some light dots of white with the end of my brush. Here's my next experiment. I'm going to use this part of my brush, not the brush part, but this part of my brush. Okay, now I'm going to come back on screen here so you can see. So, and I'm going to come in and just make a few little dots of light in the distance, kind of like stars, little stars like that. That's kind of cool looking. I like that. Good. Okay, now I'm going to come back on screen because I know it's kind of boring just looking at stuff. All right, there we go. All right, what does that look like from a distance? Got my paper towels in case you have a mistake. There are no mistakes in art. It's just adjust, adjust, adjust. You just adjust stuff. All right, how's our time? Oh my gosh, we're really doing good tonight. All right. You know what's bugging me? There have got to be 25 gnats in here. And we were talking at the restaurant today, or I was talking with my students last night. They said, man, have you noticed how many gnats are flying around? Just little teeny tiny flies that are getting into everything. Oh my gosh. Anyway, so here's the little tiny little bits of light. I'm going to bring those up here closer to the camera so you can sort of see them. And then you can pull these little bits out. They're really thick. And I can put, you know, just a few here and there, and you can pull them, just fuzz them out around the outside a little bit like that, and make them just kind of have a little bit of an aura or whatever. And you can put a moon. This kind of looks like the moon, doesn't it, right there? I like that. I think I will make that into a moon. I'm spitting gnats. You can tell. We left the door open today because it was so nice and warm. We're going to have things up our nose. The other night we had a moth come in. A moth came into the room, and my husband has some issues with night terrors every once in a while. And a moth hit him in the face, and he screamed bloody blue blazes so loud. I thought we had a serious, serious problem. I thought for sure we had a burglar or something going on. So here's just some fun. You can just add these on and then go back in and kind of fuzz them out, mess around with them a little bit, and take your, oh, probably a clean one would be good. Take your little Q-tip and then just kind of star them out. You can fuzz them out, and you create these little lights like that, a little auras where they kind of look like that kind of a, oh, you know, at night, one of my favorite things is when I'm out shoveling snow at 11 o'clock, well, it's not fun, at 11 o'clock at night, and then you're out there and all of a sudden you look up and there's these, the moon is glowing and the stars are out and there's a frost around each light. It feels like there's a frost that glows around each little light. And so that's one of my favorite things that I am trying to figure out how to emulate on my little canvases these days. I just did one I'm working on in the classroom. I'd show it to you, but it's in the classroom, and we have a large classroom. And so I did that, and it's I'm letting it dry, and then I'm going to put a glaze of dark paint over the top of it, and then pull the lights out again. And it's really a fun experiment. If you have any tips on how to do that. Okay, now See the little fuzzy, oh, I'm holding this up to the wrong thing. The little fuzzy things right here. I've kind of got them soft into the wet paint. And now I'm going to come in with my little Q-tip and put a center in it. Wow, isn't that neat? Yeah, so it's a little fuzzy fuzz that goes into, start out with a white dot, fuzz it out a little bit, go back in and put the white dot in again. So it's make it, break it, and make it again. If any of you were Helen Van Wyck fans, she would do this thing where she would have put the highlight on, and then she would break it and then make it again. And so now I'm putting them in and I'm making them again after I broke them down, and they really, really, really glow. Yes, I've gotten a little carried away, but I wanted to show you how to do that. And you might want to make yours a little bit smaller. Yeah, a little bit smaller. But it's kind of fun. Now I'll go back in and I'll adjust that a little bit. But it's I think that was kind of a fun project, don't you? Okay. Now I'm not really sure. I'm not really sure if I'm going to be with you next Thursday, but do check in just in case I can pull it off, because we're leaving at 4 or 5 in the morning the next day to get up to Hood River. And so I'm going to be needing to pack my car. But do check in, because there's still a really good chance that I'll be here, and we'll do one more lesson before I take some time off for a day. And we'll see how that goes. Anyway, meet me in Hood River, and then the next week, meet me in McCall. Okay? Love you guys. Get your paints out. Let me know what you're doing, and let me know what you'd like to see. Don't forget to subscribe and share with your friends, and also watch all those other videos. There's about 135 of them, I think. I'm going to go check that right now and see. And we'll catch you next time. Love you guys. Bye for now. I'm going to figure out how to turn this off. Okay, just a minute. All right, good. La 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 la. Here we go.